I honestly don't know what to think anymore. But sometimes I really think that the Home Office or the UK immigration, they're trying to make the UK such an unpleasant place for immigrants, so much so that you'll be forced to leave. Why am I saying this? It was just the 16th of January 2024 that the UK increased some immigration fees, right? I even did a video about it, but if you don't remember, let me refresh your memory. So at the time, the party in power was the Conservative Party under the leadership of Richard Sunak, and the explanation he gave was that they needed to raise money to pay, nurses, because nurses were demonstrating that they wanted a pay increment. The teachers, the police, everybody was complaining, and he needed to raise money some way, somehow, to be able to make up for these increments. Listen to what he said.
Prioritise paying public sector workers more. That money has to come from somewhere else, because I'm not prepared to put up people's taxes, and I don't think it would be responsible or right to borrow more, because that would just make inflation worse. So what we have done are two things to find this money. The first is we're going to increase the charges that we have for migrants who are coming to this country when they apply for visas, and indeed something called the Immigration Health Surcharge, which is the levy that they pay to access the NHS. So all of those fees are going to go up, and that will raise over £1 billion. So across the board, visa application fees are going to go up significantly, and similarly for the Immigration Health Surcharge, for migrants who are coming to this country legally, they have to pay a fee to access the NHS, to contribute to NHS care. I think that's entirely right. Neither of these fees have been increased recently, and we think it's appropriate, given the costs for everything have gone up, that those fees, both for applying for visas and for accessing the NHS, go up too. That will raise over £1 billion, as I said, so it's a significant contribution to helping us pay for these.
Is that not surprising that the same immigrants that they don't want, we are the ones giving them money to pay their own people? This is interesting, is it not? Now, just the 16th of January 2025, they've announced that they're going to increase immigration fees again. Here are the details. So just think about the year since the last immigration fee increment, and now all they're waiting for is approval by the Commons and the Lords, and this new increment will come into full effect. So they've given us examples so far of some of the type of immigration fees that they are going to increase. So before we look at the increments that will be happening this year, let's look at last year, the increments that happened, the immigration fees that were increased. How much were we paying prior to that, and how much were they increased to? Let's just refresh our memory on the increments that occurred last year, and then we'll come to what this year holds for us. For instance, if you are applying for a visit visa for 6 months or less, initially before 4th October, you were expected to pay £100, but after 4th October, now people are expected to pay £115. Another example is if, let's say, you want super priority service with your visa application, initially before 4th October, it was £800, and now it is £1,000. So these are examples of the increments. And we did also know that they were going to increase the cost of the immigration health surcharge. Unfortunately, this has been increased from £624 per year to £1,035 a year. So once this is approved, it's going to take effect from 16th of January. This is about £400 increment. This is crazy. Okay, but if you are less than 18 years or you are coming with the youth mobility visa, now it's increased from £470 to £776. Okay, so yeah, these are the figures, guys. Example is the ETA, or the Electronic Travel Authorization. So for those of you who don't know what the ETA is, it's what was just launched sometime last year, and now if you're from almost every country in the world and you ordinarily did not require a visa to come to the UK, now what you need instead of a visa is an ETA, and you can do it online. You don't need to go for any interviews and all of that. It's just an electronic travel authorization that you need to be able to come to the UK. If you are from countries where every time you need a visa to come to the UK, you go through your normal visa application process, submit your documents, blah blah blah. But for countries like, let's say, USA, Belgium, Germany, people from these countries with these passports, before they didn't need to apply for anything. They just buy their tickets and go. But now the ETA has been introduced for these people that initially did not require a visa. So now this ETA application, they are increasing their cost, or they're increasing the fee. Initially it was £15, but now they're increasing it to £16. And they're saying that this aligns with international practice as seen in other countries like the USA, Australia, and they are saying that this increase is anticipated to generate additional £140 million for the Home Office for the years 2025, 2026 next fiscal year. Another thing that they're going to increase is certificate of sponsorship. So for those of you who don't know what certificate of sponsorship is, it's just a certificate that licensed companies or licensed employers apply for from the Home Office for people that they want to recruit from outside the UK. Without it, nobody can apply for a skilled worker visa from outside the UK. So it's quite important, and it is usually the companies that are recruiting foreign personnel. They have to apply for it from the Home Office, and then they issue it to the person coming to work for them. So it's just a certificate of sponsorship. Okay, it's quite important. And now they're increasing it for employers. So now for employers sponsoring workers, the fee is going to increase from £239 to £525. And for temporary workers, sponsorship fees will rise from £25 to £55. They are saying that these changes alone are estimated to contribute £111 million in additional income by the year 2025-2026 fiscal year, just by that increment in COS fees. And then another thing that they are trying to increase is naturalization fees. So the cost of applying for British citizenship, they are saying, is going to increase from £1,500 to £1,605. Yes, and for British overseas territories citizenship, the fee is going to increase from £1,000 to £1,070. They are saying that these adjustments are projected to add additional £18 million to the Home Office revenue. This part I was a bit confused because I just recently applied for my British citizenship and I paid £1,630. So I don't know where they are saying that it's being increased from £1,500 to £1,600. Anyways, other nationality related fees are also going to increase, including renunciation of British citizenship. And initially, if you're renouncing your British citizenship, it was £450. Now they are going to increase it to £482. Amendments to citizenship certificates. Initially, it was £400, but now it's going to increase to £428. And if you are requesting for administrative review, let's say you apply for a visa, it was denied and you want it to be reviewed again administratively, now they're increasing it from £450 to £482. Also, right abode documentation fees is also going to increase from £550 to £589. So they're saying that these changes also, they are aiming to generate an additional £1 million in the next fiscal year. So guys, do you see? It looks like most of the things that were touched last year are not touched this year, but increment is increment. But there has been consensus from the House of Lords. So in the House of Lords, there's actually a committee in the House of Lords known as the Science and Technology Committee, and they have addressed these increments in the immigration fees and all of that. They have raised so many concerns about all of this. So they are saying that they have concerns about the impact of high visa fees on the UK's ability to attract talent in science and technology from other places. So they wrote a letter addressed to the Home Office, and in that letter addressed to the Home Secretary, Chancellor and Minister for the Science and Technology Committee highlighted the detrimental impact of current immigration policies on the UK's ability to attract and retain highly skilled individuals. Because like we always say, other countries are giving permanent residency from day one and you don't even have to pay a lot of money for it. So why should they come here and pay thousands of pounds and they don't enjoy permanent residency privileges? So they are arguing that the current immigration policies could actually deter highly skilled individuals, particularly early career researchers and postdoctoral scientists, from moving to the UK, which is very true. So they're trying to tell the Home Secretary that the Home Office should actually relook at this. So the letter also highlights that applicants can face upfront cost of up to or even exceeding £10,000. I mean, for people that have to pay IHS fees, immigration health surcharge, pay visa application, pay for this, pay for that, you see that they are paying you so much money, which is not even worth it. And these are some of the recommendations that the Science and Technology Committee of the House of Commons, they came with. So they are saying that maybe the Home Secretary or the Home Office should review the visa fees. They are recommending that they should revisit the visa fees to ensure that the UK remains competitive globally. You know, the UK is still attracted to people globally, especially, you know, exceptional talents from outside the UK. So this is particularly important for attracting talent in critical sectors like healthcare and technology. They also said that maybe the Home Office could introduce what we call flexible payment options, exploring alternatives for the immigration health surcharge. Because if you want to come here for, let's say you have a 5 years visa, you have to pay £5,000 for immigration health surcharge. When you people say that we are from poor continents, how do you expect us poor continent people to raise £5,000 for immigration health surcharge to help your country? Meanwhile, there are people here who have lived here all their lives and they have worked here all their lives and they don't have £5,000 in their accounts. But you expect us from the poor continents to be able to raise this amount and come use to support this rich continent or this rich country. How is that possible? So they are saying that maybe you can introduce flexible payment options for things like the immigration health surcharge so that people can, let's say, pay in installments, or let's say for visa renewals, they will pay in installments. And they believe that that could alleviate the financial burdens on on some migrants. Another thing that they said is that maybe they can expand the global talent visa. I've spoken so much at length about the global talent visa. They are suggesting that maybe broadening the eligibility criteria for the global talent visa to include more, early career researchers and all of that could also be beneficial to the UK, because that way they'll be able to attract more good, exceptional talents from other countries. And then they are saying that they also raised serious concerns, and I was really happy with this particular one because they highlighted the negative effects of immigration policies on international students and universities, particularly in the STEM fields. They are saying that the ban on dependents for postgraduate taught courses has disproportionately impacted universities. These are not my words. These are the words of the committee. And they are saying that the committee usually relies on international student fees to subsidize teaching and research costs for British people. But now, because lots of people are not coming to the UK to study internationally again, now they are saying that it has had negative impact on the universities. Some universities have had to lay off 400 lecturers or 400 staff members. These are not my words, it's in the news. And so they are saying that the Home Office should review the dependence ban. The government should reconsider the ban on dependent for postgraduate courses, because they are saying that it has affected the financial viability of the STEM programs in the universities here in the UK. These are not my words, and I'm so happy. We knew this will happen. We knew it, and we knew it. And they are saying that the Home Office should enhance data collection, because they believe that improved data collection and analysis will be needed to understand the full impact of immigration policies on students, on researchers, and all of that. I honestly think that they are just making this place unbearable, but there are still very intelligent people that know that migrants, they cannot run this country without us. So for me, for example, I have paid over £6,000 in just a little over 12 months period, just in immigration fees. I paid over 3,500 for my ILR application, my indefinite leave to remain application. And just recently, I paid over 1,600 for my British citizenship application. Those two alone, and obviously I paid to write my life in the UK test. Obviously, once my citizenship is approved, I'll be applying to get a passport and all of that. So in a short while, look at how much money they have made from me. So imagine if it was me and my husband doing this process. That's over £10,000 for just two people. Look at the number of skilled workers in this country. They are making a lot of money from us. Now, if it's just us and we are crying about £10,000, look at a family of four. How much a family of four will be paying? That is so painful. It looks like they want you to take all the money that you have made in the 5 years or the 6 years that you've been here. So that finally, as I get you your passport, you will be broke as hell and you have to start from the scratch again after passport. It's like they want to take every dime you saved in the 5-year period or in the 6-year period. Is that fair? That's not fair. That is why we are even more annoyed with what Kemi is saying. Imagine that you have to keep renewing your visa for 10 years or for 15 years. Can you imagine? And pay immigration else a charge for this long. This is absurd. Guys, let me know what you think. Comments below. Thank you so much. Bye.